To get started using patient forms, you first have to enable them for your location. To do so, you just want to head up to Settings, and then on the left-hand side, you want to head into Patient Forms. Within here, there is an activation button. To switch your forms on at your location, you just need to turn that on, and that's going to activate the forms for you. Additionally, you then have to activate the forms that you wish to use. We have three forms: the oral health form, the demographics form, and the medical history form. To enable each one, you will see that in the top right-hand corner, there's also a switch to activate it or inactivate it. All you need to do is switch that on and then go ahead and hit save to activate that form. If you wish to use all three forms, you can of course activate all three of them. If you choose to only use one or two of them at your practice, you can just activate the ones that you wish to use rather than activating all of them. You will notice that for each form there is also a form expiration. This is default to 12 months. You can change this if you would like to for each form as well. The form expiration is important in order to keep your patient's medical history and demographics information up to date. When a patient is due for their form to be completed, it's going to display as due now in their patient information. Once a form has been completed, depending on the expiration date that you've set, in my case it's 12 months, it's going to set the new due date to automatically be in 12 months' time. When the patient comes in for their appointment after their 12-month period, the link to complete that form is automatically going to be in their confirmation SMS. The patient can also receive a link to complete their forms once they've confirmed their appointment. It's worth noting that their forms link does not get sent to them in their regular appointment reminder, but rather once they've confirmed that appointment. So that can either be if they have replied one to an appointment reminder to confirm that they are coming, or if you've marked their appointment as confirmed manually in the appointment book because you gave them a call. In order for this to happen, however, you do need to have the appointment confirmed reminder switched on. And within that reminder, there is the switch to add the forms link. By default, once you enable this reminder, it's going to automatically have the forms link switched on. You can opt to, of course, turn this off if you would like to. In order to view the patient forms that you have received, there are two main areas. The first of which is within the patient information. Heading over there, we're going to see on the left-hand side that there is a tab called Patient Forms. This is where all the patient forms for that patient is going to live. That includes both the current forms and prior forms if they have completed updated forms. In order to view the form from here, all you need to do is go ahead and click on the form that you would like to look at and click the hyperlink. What that's going to do is going to bring up the form in a pop-up window where you can easily view the information as required. Additionally, you are also still able to view these patient forms within the document manager as you currently do. All patient forms that have been completed electronically, when they are uploaded to the document manager, which happens automatically, they are going to have the tag forms on them. This makes it really easy if you have a patient that has a lot of information in their document manager and you just need to quickly find their forms. All you need to do is go ahead and tick this forms tag up here, and that's going to just show all of the documents that have this tag forms on it. In order to view the patient form, all you need to do is go ahead and click onto the document. It's going to open up into a new tab for you and you can review the information. Once you have got the patient forms completed, it's very important that you do then go ahead and review the information and, of course, enter it into any necessary fields within Ascend. Most commonly, this will be from the medical history form. Taking a look at the patient's medical history form, if you do see anything that's important to highlight, it's important that you do then go ahead and create a medical alert for whatever they have marked as yes or something that's noteworthy. In this case, this patient you can see has marked yes to high or low blood pressure. That's something that's important for the dentist to be aware of. So in this case, what we would want to do is exit out of there and head over to our medical alerts. And we just want to go ahead and add a new medical alert. And we're going to specifically look for blood pressure. Once we've marked that, you can choose the alert importance as usual. If you mark it as high, that's going to ensure that there's a pop-up on the screen when you enter this patient's file. If you mark it as low, it's just going to appear here under the medical alerts area, but it won't be a pop-up when you enter the patient's file. In this case, I'm going to leave this as a high alert so that everybody is aware of this when this patient's file is accessed. With the demographics form specifically, there is an additional write back feature. You can see this in the top right hand side of the form where there is an update patient details switch. By default, this is going to be turned on, and I do recommend that it be left turned on. However, you can turn it off if required. What this switch does is once the patient has completed their demographics form, once they've filled out their first name, last name, mobile phone number, the address, and all that important information, it's automatically going to fill those fields in to Ascend for you. That means you'll no longer have to manually enter in any of that information. It will just automatically update. To show you how this feature works, I have a patient here, Lauren, who doesn't have very much information. We don't have her address on file. We have her date of birth, but that's about it. What I'm going to do is jump over to the Patients Form tab, and I'm going to go ahead and to request the forms. We're going to fill out the demographics and then watch it update in Ascend for us. So if we go ahead and hit Request Form, I'm going to click here to access the forms. What that's going to do is open up the forms in a new tab for me. As the patient is filling this out, they just need to go ahead and enter their last name as well as their date of birth. Now that we've signed in, there is a terms and conditions. I'm going to go ahead and mark that as agreed. Moving along, and then we can get to the forms. I'm going to fill out the patient details form here, and as you can see that it is prompting me to fill out my email address as well as my address. You can of course add in additional information as required, such as your title, as well as if you need to add additional phone numbers. So as we fill this out, I'm just going to go ahead and enter in some information here. And then we're going to go ahead and hit save. Now that that form is all completed, we're just going to head back over to Ascend. Just after doing this, if the patient has just completed the form that quickly, you will just have to do a quick refresh of the browser. So now that we've refreshed the page, we can see that there's now a lot more information here. The address has been entered in along with the city and the state and the postcode, along with the phone number that I entered for work and as well as the email address. So as you can see, this is an absolute time saver for practices, no longer having to enter in the patient information manually. No more worries about misspellings or having trouble reading the written form. Just have them fill it out electronically and it will automatically update Ascend for you. In the case that the patient enters the practice and they haven't yet finished completing all of their forms via the SMS link in their appointment confirmation message, there are multiple areas within Ascend where you can then request the forms and either send it to their mobile phone via email or SMS or have them completed on a practice iPad or tablet. One of the areas is in the patient overview. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, you are easily able to see which forms are due and which ones have been completed. In this case, this patient has all three forms due. Another location where you are able to request forms is from the charting area. There's this form button here, and in red it's going to display how many forms they have outstanding. By clicking on this button, you can also then see which forms are due and request the forms from here. Additionally, heading over to the patient information, there is also a patient forms tab on the left hand side. From within here, again, you will easily be able to see which forms are due and which ones have been completed. And if they've been completed from this area here, you can actually view that form directly. Otherwise, you can request forms as needed. When requesting forms for a patient, you just want to hit the request forms button. If the patient has a valid mobile number and a valid email link, it's going to allow you to either text them the link to fill out their forms or email them the link to fill out the forms. Additionally, you can also copy the link. What that allows you to do is you can then paste it into a browser and have them complete it on one of the computers in the practice, or you can send them an email via a third party such as Outlook or a message via another outlet. In order to email or text the link to a patient, you just need to go ahead and click the button. Once you've done that, it's going to come up with a confirmation saying that forms have been successfully sent, and in this case, it was via email. Finally, there is also the QR code. If you have a tablet or iPad in your practice, what you can do is go ahead and download a QR scanner app. Once you've done that, you can just go ahead and scan this QR code at the front reception desk, then have the patient sit down in the reception area and complete their forms on that tablet or iPad device. Alternatively, you can continue using paper forms and then go ahead and have that scanned in as you currently do now. When the patient receives the text message with their forms link, it's going to look like this. All they need to do is go ahead and click on the link. It's going to load a page to their patient portal where they just need to sign in with their surname and their date of birth. Once they've entered that in, they can go ahead and hit sign in. Just have a read of the terms and conditions. Once they're happy with that, they can go ahead and hit agree. Once within the portal, you're then going to see the forms that you are due to fill out. In this case, it's the patient details. Jumping in here, they can update their details as required, so their title, their email address, their phone number, or add any additional phone numbers such as their work or home, along with updating their address details if you don't already have those on file. Once you're happy with it, just go ahead and hit save and it's going to let you know that the forms have been completed. You can then go ahead and sign out and you're done.